Hello, everyone. Welcome to another update from the Avalanche ecosystem. Today, I have a very special guest. I have Alex Szul from the Rome Blockchain Labs. Hi, Alex.
How's it going, Chris? Glad to be here.
Yeah, it's super awesome. I mean, tomorrow, at the time of recording, is the release of BENQI. We talked earlier.
Yep.
KUU released earlier this week. Other cool stuff coming out. Very good
Yeah.
timing, I think, to have you on. But before we dive into any of those protocols, maybe tell me a little bit about yourself and then about RBL, the broader RBL.
Sure thing. So I've been in the crypto DeFi space for a bit over a year now, actually. RBL has been around since October of 2020. Presently, we're a DeFi development company that has right around 12, 13 full-time employees. We have probably around 7 or 8 partners among our various projects, in addition to a ton of advisors. We're launching BENQI, KUU, Velox, Opulentia, RomeNet, Rome Terminal, all hopefully within the next couple of weeks. So we're looking to make a splash in the Avalanche ecosystem.
Absolutely hectic weeks for you, and it's crazy. I know you mentioned this on the Avalanche today with Josh as well. Only a
Yeah,
year for you in DeFi. Well, I mean, DeFi I guess isn't that old, but still.
yeah. It was. It's been a pretty short time actually. It was one of those kind of moves of necessity, so to speak, about getting into crypto, and I had a really deep interest in it, so it's taken over my life since then.
It's crazy, right?
That is.
And about the broader RBL, like who is the team?
Mhm.
Who are you working with? Like, what's your
Absolutely.
vision? I mean, you talked. We can introduce a little bit what your vision is with some
Yeah.
of the products that you have released, but
Yeah, so our RBL was started with JD Gagnon, Hanukusi, and myself. We were working initially on the Velox trading bot. Hanu doing a lot of the actual building with a couple of our devs, and then JD doing a lot of the networking and marketing, and me doing a lot of the technical scoping, and then also project management for the actual system itself. And then over time, we grew up into expanding into the Rome terminal, expanding into BENQI on Avalanche, and then that necessitated KUU. And along that path, it really grew into a huge multinational effort with a ton of brilliant guys. So we have everything from smart contract devs, back-end devs, front-end devs, full-time designers. We're actually hiring a marketing person. So if anybody watches this and is good in DeFi marketing, feel free to reach out to us. Um, but yeah, it's really taken off. RBL's looking to do some fantastic things for the space.
yeah. And why, if I may ask,
Mhm.
Rome Blockchain Labs? Like I saw on your website, all the roads lead to Rome.
Yeah.
Um, why the name?
So that's a really funny question. When I was first starting on scoping out RBL with JD, we were talking about doing something similar to like a Launchpad-esque support service where you could come into an ecosystem and then you could find smart contract devs, you could find front end devs, you could find marketing or graphic designers who were all approved, who were all kind of close to KYC. That way you don't have to worry about scams and stuff like that, which is prevalent in the DeFi space.
Mhm.
Uh, and we were talking, and JD's like, this is going to take a while because Rome wasn't built in a day. I'm like, let's call it Rome. Why not Rome, right? And since then we've stuck with Rome Blockchain Labs.
Awesome. And Opulentia to me sounds very Roman, but you have other projects like I think KUU is Finnish.
Yeah.
And BENQI, I'm not sure where that comes from.
So
Maybe could you maybe run me through like each of your projects and just give me like a very short introduction to each of them? And
sure. Yeah. So KUU is Finnish for Kutar, the goddess of the moon, and that's a loan underwriting service. So any loans that are illiquid on BENQI get purchased at below market price and then sold on the open market for profit, and that profit gets redistributed to KUU liquidity providers. BENQI is a decentralized money market, so it allows people to invest in the protocol, receive very stable returns, and then also they can then leverage those assets for loans themselves. And that comes from, I think, BENQI. It's just Mandarin for mortgage, if I remember
hmm,
correctly. Uh, Velox is an algorithmic trading bot. It allows individuals to connect their MetaMask wallet to the service, and then from there they can actually issue strategies that will near instantaneously execute on any supported DEX. So we have Uniswap V2, Sushi Swap's actually coming out this week, and then we have Pangolin, and then we're going to be expanding on a Pancake Swap. We're going on to SaySwap, and then also Uni V3 in the short term, and a couple other ones like NVEX and things like that. So
and
let's
and
see what else.
Opulentia. Can you tell us
Opulentia.
anything about it? On your website, it just says like 2 words: liquidation automation.
Yeah. So Opulentia is still in the shadows a bit, but we're actually going to be releasing it with the BENQI release. So Opulentia is it's an automated liquidation bot between KUU and BENQI, which helps facilitate smooth transition of capital within the Avalanche DeFi ecosystem. Beyond that, we're actually expanding it into arbitrage. So with the RomeNet system, which we actually haven't told too much about, but I can fill you in on that, we're actually able to index transaction and liquidity information across any DEX in real time from any single network in the entirety of the blockchain space. And we can use that information to run Opulentia's algorithms and be able to have rapid arbitrage. And the funds from that arbitrage, or the profits anyway, are going to be sourced or given to KUU and then sourced from the KUU pools. So it'll be a major revenue driver for the KUU platform. In addition to this, we're also considering doing lending to the BENQI protocol. So take KUU assets, lend it at a safe threshold, and then take those profits and return it back to the pools to begin with.
I think we saw a little graphic on Twitter about that today.
Yeah, exactly. So that just came out. And then RomeNet. So RomeNet is an enterprise scale data informatics service. So what we're doing is we're actually pulling in every single transaction on every single DEX with liquidity information, in addition to derivatives information and lending protocol information. And we're storing all that information in addition to real-time services and actually offering it to third parties for usage. So if you want to model any type of analytics on, let's say you're running a lending protocol or you're running a DEX, and you want to see how your ecosystem's doing, or if you want to do comparative analysis in a new blockchain ecosystem that you haven't explored yet, you can license the information, run your algos, and then make very clear decisions off that information. In conjunction, you can also utilize the real-time information if, let's say you're a hedge fund or you're a bank, and you want to actually use real-time algos or like HFT services, you can plug into RomeNet, and the second that a link token is bought across any of your 5 DEXs on any network, you'll get that information sent to you within ideally under a second, if everything scales out correctly. So yeah, right now we're offering about 3 to 4 second latencies on our DEXs, and we aim on getting it down to sub-second for our information services.
Awesome. And then one thing I think many people are wondering about is there like all these projects, they are developed by you guys, right? Why are they, and they have some synergies. Why the decision to split them into multiple different projects?
No, that's actually a good question. We found that the easiest way to make an impact on DeFi is to not try and boil the ocean at once. You start with one pot at a time. So when we're looking at helping scale out the lending ecosystem in Avalanche, right? We could build a service that has a DEX, a trading bot, a money market, and a loan underwriter all in one system, but that would be just far too complex. And with the nature of smart contract interactions, if we built 3 different services and they're all dependent upon one smart contract, if there's God forbid an exploit, or if there's something that we didn't see or our auditors didn't see, that can cause a lot of issues. So not only can we compartmentalize to make the development much smoother, we can also even further guarantee the security of what we're producing by separating it by project.
Gotcha. And then, but I think BENQI is the only one with a token, right? The key token.
So right now, BENQI is the only one with a token. Yes. For KUU, we are looking at potentially releasing a token with that one as well. So you've seen a lot of other similar protocols, like KeyBridge, for example, has a token. We want to make sure that we're going to have the proper total locked value as well as the proper utilization for everything through Opulentia and other trading bots as well before we decide to do that.
And what would kind of the use case be? I think for BENQI, it's mostly around governance, right?
For BENQI, it's governance and also rewards as well. If you interact with the platform, you get the BENQI rewards. For KUU, we're looking at governance. And then in addition, we're also looking at potentially building in revenue models into that. So perhaps 2 of the 3 streams through Opulentia might be provided to KUU stakers or KUU shareholders.
Yeah. And you mentioned revenue, and I was also just wondering, because you did one token raise. How is the RBL? What's their revenue model like, or what's it going to be?
So the RBL revenue model depends upon the project. For Opulentia, we take a fee with every transaction. It's the same for Velox as well. There's a 0.3 of 1% fee per successful transaction on Velox. For BENQI, that's its own project, its own protocol. So RBL helps manage the development of that system itself. Same thing for KUU. And then for Rome Terminal, we actually have no fee to the user. It's completely free to use. For projects that want to be integrated into the Rome Terminal system, there's an onboarding fee to cover the smart contract work, our backend crawler work, the React development, the design of the widget, and then there's a monthly maintenance fee to keep up with any adjustments that protocol might have.
Awesome. Yep. So, and the way you describe it, right? Partnerships are very important, I think. Partnership with DEXs. How does it go? Because of course, DeFi in a way it's a little bit decentralized. Everybody can do anything. But you're still making a lot of partnerships. Like how does it go, and how's the experience like working on Avalanche, but also, for example, with Uniswap?
That's fair enough. So as far as the partnerships go, we're actually pretty open about that. So people can go to the RBL website. It's the Rome Terminal website, and there's a contact page. They can email me directly. So if a DEX governance board, or if a lending protocol wanted to be integrated into the Rome Terminal, then they can just shoot me an email and we can discuss that. So we're very open, very fair about that. As far as working, so we actually haven't contacted Uniswap directly for Velox. We've kind of plugged into their service, so to speak. But we are in contact with Penguin, for example, and a handful of other DEXs that we can't announce yet to do a close partnership with them for various Rome Blockchain Labs projects.
And then Ava Labs, do you have partnerships somehow with them? And now that they're for BENQI.
So Ava Labs has been very supportive with BENQI. They helped us with KUU. They've given us grants for Velox and for their own terminal. We're working with them on a couple of different projects. So there's quite a bit out there. Ava Labs has been a fantastic support for everything that we've been looking to build.
I find it very interesting that you're saying you're working with them on a couple of different projects.
Yeah.
It sounds like there's more.
Always. Yeah. With RBL right now, it was funny, Chris. We went through a period where there was so much that we were building. There's so much opportunity. It got to the point where we had the experience. We have some of the best developers in the world, quite honestly, top 1% in RBL. It's absolutely astounding that we've been able to gather these type of individuals. In conjunction with the money, we have enough money to keep building, in perpetuity. But the problem is time. Like I got to sleep. JD got to sleep. They have families. So we didn't have enough time and management staff to build this out. So we're kind of pulling in the curtain, so to speak, pulling in the fold and building out what we have presently defined. And once those are released, we'll move on to new projects. Yeah.
RBL never sleeps, is what I'm hearing.
Oh, never does. No.
Awesome. I was also wondering, like, when you make a partnership with Pangolin, does it have any like exclusivity as well? Does it also have like any implications for any potential partnerships with the Trader Joe or Lydia or another DEX on Avalanche?
So as far as exclusivity is concerned, we don't have any exclusivity with other DEXs for projects. That being said, we don't have any plans right now on expanding in the Avalanche network for Velox. But as far as like Rome Terminal goes, or if there's any interaction with Opulentia for arbitrage, or if there's some way that they want to work in with BENQI or KUU, then absolutely, we're more than happy to work with them on those. And again, they can email me, alexander@romeblockchain.com. That's the easiest way to get hold of me.
Cool.
For that.
Let's maybe get into a little bit deeper into some of the actual projects.
Sure.
I was wondering about KUU. Like it's the KUU is, to my understanding, is also kind of supposed to do arbitrage and liquidation, right?
Correct.
That's a bit similar to Opulentia in a way, but
so they actually work in tandem with each other. I was just having a discussion about this yesterday. So KUU and Opulentia are symbiotic in nature. KUU is the protocol that facilitates the collection of funds and then its secure holding. Opulentia is the service that actually extracts the funds from the protocol and then facilitates the arbitrage or facilitates the liquidation. So the deeper pools are in KUU. The larger arbitrage and liquidations that Opulentia can do in one sweeping motion, which means the more money KUU makes, the better returns you get. And then also the more functionality Opulentia offers, the more it can pull from KUU liquidity pools and the more money KUU holders make. So that's how those two work.
It's kind of like KUU is the fault and Opulentia is the whatever executes the.
Exactly.
I don't know what that role is in my analogy, but
yeah, it's like KUU's the pool and Opulentia is a swimmer. It goes from A to B.
Yeah, perfect. It is my understanding that for arbitrage, and I kind of pull this from a thread by Omer Demirel because this is a bit outside of my understanding. That for arbitrage, it's kind of important that your node is that you run an Avalanche node
tremendously
with a lot of liquidity, so it has like a higher chance to be sampled. Because for arbitrage, speed is very important.
It is. Yeah. So RBL, we run all of our own nodes for all of the networks that we operate under. And it is important, especially in the proof of stake in the Avalanche network, to have enough staked AVAX. That way your likelihood of being picked, even though it is randomized, is still marginally higher. Because when you spread that out among high frequency trades in a network that can, come to consensus in almost under a second, I think it is under a second in some instances, it's important to be top of the bunch. So yeah, that is something that we do prioritize with all of our node services. It's the same thing for RomeNet as well, is that the data that we're pulling in from RomeNet is pulling transaction data off the same node that Opulentia is running on, or Velox would be running on. So, yep, we absolutely maintain that.
Cool.
Make sure we get the best returns.
That's good. So like KUU can definitely compete with any other bot that's or Opulentia, I guess is
Opulentia.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And the gentleman who built the Velox trading bot, Hanu, is the same guy who built the Opulentia bot, and he's the same gentleman who's scaling out the service. So he's been building bots for a long time.
He's a genius.
he could do some really cool things with bots. One of the coolest things that we're looking at implementing on proof of stake networks is actually called the dynamic transaction threshold, or DTT. So if anybody followed Velox right at the launch, on the UI that we first put out, there was a small button on the UI mockup that said enable DTT, and we didn't really explain too much what that is. But what we found was that due to the nature of AMMs, is that if you purchase too much, or if you buy or sell too much into a liquidity pool that moves the price, that has a price impact, right? That can then knock the execution threshold out of parameter, out of spec for the bot. So what'll happen is either your trade won't execute if you set your bot up that way, or it'll execute, but your final price will be like way above what you actually wanted, depending upon the liquidity of the pool. So what Velox can actually do is Velox can take into account the price impact, or we call it market movement. Market movement is simply the summation of price impact with slippage. And they can factor that in with the amount of tokens that a trader is looking to put into a pool. So if I have 10 tokens and it's going to raise the market movement by, I don't know, 5 cents above what I wanted to, Velox will portion out a section of those 5 tokens, maybe only trade 2 tokens at a time. And it'll kind of chew through that order. That way you can trade into low liquidity pools without actually having to worry about your price being off spec.
So sounds great and a little bit complex.
a little bit,
I understand what you meant, but
perfect.
Talking about Velox then, Velox is non-custodial, right? It doesn't hold.
Correct.
You don't have to deposit in Velox.
Nothing.
How does it work? Does it just work through approvals and then it's going to withdraw, or can you tell me a little bit? Once again, this is a little bit outside of our.
No, Chris. I know, Chris. It's fantastic because a lot of people use Velox. It's at its up and down. It's in its fantastic trajectory now, but a lot of people don't understand how it actually operates. So I'm more than happy to walk through this with you. So as far as the Velox trading bot's concerned, we're non-custodial in the sense, and you had it on you're on the nose about it, that we actually don't retain any control of any trader's assets. The way that works is that the user connects their wallet to our smart contract, just like you would with any smart contract, Uniswap, SushiSwap, what have you, Pangolin. And with that, what they do is then they approve certain tokens. So in the same way as on a DEX, you have to approve a token to trade, you approve a token through the Velox smart contract.
Yeah.
From there, you then issue strategies. And the strategies take place what's called a signature. It's basically an approval to check out or to remove a certain number of tokens as defined by the user in that specific strategy prior to execution. So the user signs off as I allow them to trade, 50 wrapped AVAX for whatever number of tokens this turns into at this certain price. And then that signature is packaged, put to the Velox system, and then Velox watches the network. And as soon as that price is hit, we say, all right, well, so-and-so has this number of tokens that they want to sell at this price. We then instantly execute. And then we take the tokens from your wallet, move them into the Velox smart contract, execute the trade on the DEX of your choice. And then Velox, once it succeeds, Velox takes its 0.3% of a fee and then sends the remainder back to the trader's wallet, all within one movement. So there's no multiple gas fees, multiple transactions. It's very slick.
It sounds very slick indeed. And Velox is available on Uniswap and on Penguin, right now?
Yep.
Is there a very big, sorry.
No, please go ahead.
Is there a very big difference between running Velox on Ethereum and on Avalanche? Because in Ethereum, of course, you have an entire mempool kind of thing, which hardly exists on Avalanche.
Exactly. Yeah, there really isn't that much. So it's interesting, right? Because the Avalanche seed chain is an EVM, so it's a pretty close clone of what Ethereum is doing, minus, for example, the mempool, like you said. So in porting services from Uniswap v2 over to Pangolin, there wasn't we weren't trying to reinvent the wheel. Block confirmation times were a bit tricky, as well as just the absolute rapidity of the blocks. That's where it comes from. Is the average, I think, execution threshold on an Ethereum block is like 13 seconds, 14 seconds. On Avalanche, that can be like 2 seconds, or it can but it's a little variable, especially when we were using that on the Avalanche testnet. So we definitely had to take that into account. But most of the challenges for getting Pangolin working with Velox were more on our own backend, on having Velox being able to discern between different DEXs and different networks simultaneously.
Interesting. Okay, can you tell me a little bit more about that? How that works?
The execution of
differentiation. How is it organized? How does it map to make So basically, Velox, it's like one thing, and it's not like two different contracts essentially, or so.
So it is. So Velox has different contracts that operate on different networks. So we have Avalanche C chain Velox contract. We have an Avalanche. We actually have a couple of contracts. We have the Avalanche or the Ethereum Velox smart contracts, and then those are tied into our Velox backend. The Velox backend is what monitors the mempool on the Ethereum network, or just monitors the DEX on the Avalanche network and whatever network we're going to add on in the future. And then it also holds the outstanding strategies for the users. So the users take the strategies with their execution thresholds, their pricing, their token, their approvals, send them to the Velox backend. The Velox backend holds it. And then while it's holding it, it also checks the blocks that are being confirmed in the network. If one of the strategies is calculated to be able to be executed while a block is confirmed, at the very next block that's opened up, Velox injects the trade into the network, and then it executes once that block's confirmed.
So the backend is a little bit like an oracle in a way, like it's where the contracts get their information
kind
from.
of. Yeah, it does source on-chain information onto the backend. Yeah, we've considered doing a completely decentralized service for Velox, but it's actually impossible with present technology. There's a lot of things that we're doing, especially in the Ethereum network, where we have mempool gas pricing, and you need to have absolutely rapid speed to be able to calculate where in the mempool a person's specific strategy is supposed to fit, to both maximize its position to make sure that you're top of the block for your trade, but also not waste your gas, so you're not spending 100 GUI over what you could be to execute. So Velox actually calculates efficiently down to, I believe, like 8 decimal places or 16 decimal places worth of GUI. So that way you do not waste an ounce of gas on Velox. It's the most efficient trading bot in the world.
Amazing. And do you have any difficulty also with MEV on the Ethereum chain? It's because you can't really predict every now and then.
Yeah, so MEV is a bit of a black box for us. Is that we really can't control if someone throws a block out of nowhere and it's not in the network. We've considered working with miners to actually be able to submit. So if a block confirms the execution of a Velox strategy, we can send it to a mempool and also send it to a pool of miners who would be able to put in a shadow block or whatever you like to call it. But that's just not really something in our cards right now. So we think that the market forces that are behind MEV would actually withhold the miners from abusing it, because if you abuse a system so far, then no one wants to use it. Then there is no value for the miner to extract, right? Yeah. If everyone knows you can break it, no one's going to use it. So hopefully everybody's wise enough to let it run smoothly.
Well,
And
I'm
people don't really
always
have that problem.
surprised that people are still using Ethereum and I have to pay 300 for a gas fee
Yeah,
sometimes.
right. It can get crazy. That's like $50 to send a
Like,
transaction. Yeah, it was. Yeah, like back when the gas was ridiculous earlier this year, I was like, man, I got to find a new network. Oh wait, this Avalanche. It costs like 8 cents to send a transaction. Why am I not doing this?
well, we're very happy to have you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, moving onward maybe to BENQI. BENQI is
Yep.
launching tomorrow with, we now know, the liquidity mining program also from
Yes.
Avalanche. Plus you
Yes.
can earn some key tokens as well.
Hmm.
Is BENQI completely like self-written, or is it like a fork of something, or a mix?
Sure. So it's actually a bit of a mix. We've followed what Compound's done for our protocol, but we've actually brought in a couple of smart contract devs who are specialized in lending protocols, and they've been able to make BENQI a bit of a powerhouse. The reason that we decided to launch on the Avalanche network, besides the scalability and the speed of what the network can produce, is actually the subnet offering. A lot of what BENQI plans on implementing is kind of bridging, not kind of, it is bridging the space between decentralized finance and traditional finance, right? There's a lot of regulation, a lot of hassle that banks and hedge funds and other services have when they try to move into a new space, especially one that's as gray as decentralized finance is. Well, if you have a service like BENQI or the Rome Terminal or Velox that is well defined, well established, it's not a scam, obviously. I mean, everybody's public and we don't even have a token, for goodness sake.
Mm-hmm.
So when you know you have a solid defined protocol in a space that you want to partner with, all of a sudden it gets very easy when you can connect through a bespoke subnet. You can make your own layout however you like. So
Awesome. And then today, of course, we also saw that Aave, I think is supposed to is how you're supposed to pronounce it, and
yeah, Aave,
Curve
yeah,
are both joining
yep.
Avalanche as well. Are you excited about that? Anxious?
We're
How
very
is this gonna play with RBL and BENQI specifically?
Sure. So we're fantastically excited about it. One of the keys of a healthy ecosystem, especially for decentralized lending protocols, is to have multiple protocols operating in the same environment. Is that you want to be able to have variable interest rates. You want to be able to have kind of hedging arbitrage opportunities. I'm not sure what that would be, what the term for that is, but basically you can do comparative lending between networks. So while as fun as it would be for BENQI to be the only blue chip lending system in the whole network, it's not the healthiest thing for Avalanche at large. So we welcome Aave, we welcome pretty much any other lending protocol to come in because it makes everybody richer in the end, and that's what we're all doing in crypto, right? Making money.
Yeah. Some people say it's about decentralization. I think a lot of people are in it for the
sure.
money.
Yeah. Well, we know
it's a bit of both, right?
It is, yeah.
It is cutting out the middleman for a lot of things, honestly.
Tremendously.
And that's where the money comes from.
You can accomplish both things. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, to come back on that, a good opportunity for Opulentia maybe as well. That's all those protocols are joining.
Tremendously. Yeah. So for Aave to come in, or if Compound comes in or whomever else, to look and say, we already have a loan underwriting service that's established in the network. We already have a loan liquidation service established in the network. That takes a lot of pressure off their back, because when BENQI came out, there was no lending protocol in Avalanche. No one thought of it yet, right? So we thought initially, let's just launch BENQI and just get it over and done with. But wait, what if the loans go bad? Where's that going to go? At the time, Pangolin didn't have enough liquidity to be able to absorb a giant market downturn. So we have to launch a keeper service, right? And then it's all right. Well, who's going to liquidate the loans? All right, got to make Opulentia now. So not only are they solid projects, they came about because they're necessary. They came about because no one else is building them. So if not us, then who?
Yeah. And you mentioned liquidations. I always find them very conceptually I understand, but I have difficulty understanding exactly how they work on chain. Can you explain liquidations to me like I'm 5 years old, essentially?
Yep, I'll try my best, Chris. So, so the way that liquidations work is that it all starts with the borrowing of collateralized assets on a lending protocol. Let's say that you go to BENQI and you have $10,000 worth of wrapped Bitcoin, right? $10,000 worth. And then BENQI says, all right, based upon how much of the wrapped Bitcoin pool is lended out, based on how much is in the pool itself, we're going to allow you to take out, let's just say 50% of your value in any other crypto you want. So you take out $5,000 in USDT and Tether. So that's all fine and dandy, right? You pay off, I don't know, 16% in interest here, and then you get 12% here. The 4% goes to the protocol, goes to governments and the insurance funds. But what happens if the value of your wrapped Bitcoin goes below or close to what your loan was, right? Well, if it goes too far, the protocol would become insolvent and people could just walk away with money. As much as it'd be nice to walk away with money, you can't run a company that way. So what we have to do is they have to do automatic liquidations. So BENQI will warn you ahead of time that you need to either pay off your loan, shrink that, or add to the amount of collateralized assets you have for your account. Otherwise, it'll be liquidated. So when it reaches a certain threshold, it's a health factor of 1. Once it reaches around there, then BENQI seizes your collateral. You walk away with the remaining value of your loan. And then we seize the collateral at a price that's marginally above what your loan was. So if this is 5,000, we might seize it at 5,500 or somewhere around there. So we seize that, and then we open it up on a smart contract. And we say, all right, we have this loan for this asset at this amount that's liquidated at this price, okay? Opulentia sees that, all right, there's now a liquid loan I can purchase. It will go to KUU. It will pull out, let's say, $5,000 worth of USDT. It'll purchase the loan, which is worth 5,500 in wrapped Bitcoin. We get our money back. BENQI gets the 5,000, so we're neutral. Opulentia takes the $5,500 worth of assets it bought for 5,000. It sells it on Pangolin or Trader Joe or any other DEX that has the best option, and then we take our profits. So Opulentia and KUU has made $500 off of one liquidation that gets spread out among KUU holders. Opulentia takes a small fee to sustain its operations, and then that just continues. So that continues for any lending protocol in the network. That also continues for any arbitrage opportunity in any DEX in the network as well.
Perfectly clear. Yeah, thank you. I think for me, one of the most important parts there is like the difference between, my mind was like, if there's a health factor of 1, it's going to liquidate at 5,000 and then try to sell at 4,900 or so. And I was like, that doesn't make sense to me. But indeed, if it's a little bit higher,
it
makes perfect sense. Okay, so one final question about BENQI. On BSC, we saw lending come in, and then we saw a lot of DEXs or other apps getting exploited kind of through like flash loans.
Sure.
Is that something you have like considered as well when you like, I mean, of course you can't really protect against it per se, but is it on the back of your mind?
It is. Security in general is a top priority for BENQI. We've all decided that we aren't going to release anything until ourselves and our auditors can 100% stand behind what we're launching. In terms of flash loans in particular, I can't mention the specifics on that, Chris, just because I don't know. That's not my specialty. That's more Hanu and the dev team handle flash loan and trading bots. But I can assure you that they've got over it and aren't letting anything be exploited, at least on their watch. So, yeah.
Curious. Okay. Final app maybe, Rome Terminal.
Yes. Yeah. Rome Terminal. Man, that's our baby, our flagship. It's everything. We love it.
I saw you called it. I saw on the website it was called the front page of DeFi.
Yes.
Are you aware that Marker also calls itself the front page of DeFi? Marker.io.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Have you talked?
No, we haven't. But I guess we'll see who comes out on top. But for the Rome Terminal, that idea came about simply because we realized that there literally was no homepage of DeFi, right? If I wanted to go and follow my assets, I had to go onto DEX Tools, PooCoin, whatever for whatever network, and then have a bajillion Chrome tabs open, and then I would also have to have tabs open for my DEXs and tabs open for my trading bots, and tabs open for my lending protocols. So why not just have one homepage? Why not have one place where I can customize everything I want across every single network for every asset and have it real time and linked to my Telegram account? So you can be out on the road on your phone looking at Rome Terminal and then readjust your widgets, open up some apps, close it out, go to your desktop, and it pulls up the exact same layout, just like you're looking at 30 minutes ago on the bus. You know, it's a tremendously powerful service. And we really do want to change what DeFi has to offer. Because how simple would it be to come to your parents or your siblings and say, listen, I'm going to show you what DeFi is. This is an exchange. This is how it works. This is a chart. This is how it works. This is a loan. This is how it works. And then you can set them up and then they can figure out for themselves in a very structured and trustworthy system exactly how to operate in the DeFi space.
Sounds really cool. And as someone who occasionally travels somewhere without his laptop or so, that sounds very useful.
Yeah.
I think maybe the best way to visualize that is maybe if you want to share it as well with
sure,
in this call.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me pull up app here. Okay, share screen. Okay, so you should be able to see the Rome terminal here, right?
Yep. Yeah, I can see it.
So this is the closed alpha. It's alpha stage 1 is the term for it. And this presently operates for Pangolin assets on the Avalanche network. So the Rome terminal breakdown is actually very straightforward. You would come directly to this page from the landing page, rometerminal.io, and you would be presented with not these specific not these specific widgets, but a couple of them like them. You begin by opening up the blockchain network menu on the left. This will then show you all of the networks that Rome Blockchain Labs, RomeNet, and by extension Rome Terminal offer service for. So we don't presently have services on all of them. Like, for example, Cardano just came out with their smart contracts, like I think like last week or so. So obviously there's nothing that we can source here, but as soon as it's up, we'll have service for it on the Rome terminal. You open up the specific blockchain network that you want, and then you're presented with a submenu of all the types of assets, or types of protocols that you would want to use. So on exchanges and Avalanche, you have Pangolin. Lending, you have BENQI and KUU. Trading bots, you have Velox. Same thing, you open up Ethereum, you have Uniswap, SushiSwap, Velox, so on and so forth. So we can open up Avalanche here, open the exchange. If I click on the Pangolin name, it opens up a Pangolin widget. And that one has directly there the UI. So this is an iframe for the alpha. We're actually going to have a native application for Pangolin. So they're going to be built directly into the service. You can connect to their smart contracts through the Rome terminal.
Awesome. Yeah, it looks really impressive.
So, so it's the same thing, is that if I want to open up a table widget or a charting widget for Pangolin assets, I can click on the add table or add chart buttons, and then it pops up. And then from here, I can select my assets. So if I want to look at, Link and Rapid Avalanche, I click on it in a couple seconds, your chart loads. It's the same thing for the tables. So the tables and the charts are both going to be real time. We've been clocking our latencies. And like I said earlier, it's about 2 to 3 seconds from the moment it's confirmed on the block to get into our database. And then to show up on the UI is about 5-ish seconds from there. So about 8 to 10 seconds total is approximately our delay. And that's going to be decreased. We're actually expanding into a big data service because we're looking at actually being able to supply petabytes worth of transaction, lending, derivatives data to anybody who wants that service. These widgets for the native ones have a variety of services built into the tile. So you can select a blockchain network that you want to trade on. So if I'm on Avalanche and I want to see what assets look like on Uniswap, I can flip to Ethereum and then type in the search bar whatever asset I want, and it'll pull up all Uniswap pairs that have that asset ticker in the name. The same for SushiSwap or whatever other exchanges we plan on implementing in the Ethereum network. From there, I can actually open up the contract for the asset both for the non-base and the base pair asset. We're implementing bi-directional charting and pricing for assets. So you get access to the token contract, the pair contract on the specific deck that you're on. You get all of your socials. This will be Avascan, obviously. And then you have if their social media information is put up on the blockchain crawler service, that'll be sourced there as well. You can also utilize the exchange buttons. So if I'm looking at the ETH and Rapid AVAX pair on Pangolin and I want to trade that on Velox, I can click on the Velox button, and then a Velox widget will then be populated at the bottom of the screen with that pair already populated inside the service. So I can immediately trade on either Pangolin, Velox, or whatever DEX that comes into the services per network.
And does it work right now, or?
So this isn't hooked up now. No, this is going to come in the beta service.
Because I was wondering, because your screen is full, if that was the issue or it was just not.
Oh, no. So that's actually the cool thing about this is that you can actually open up to 15 widgets simultaneously. So I click on Velox here, click on Pangolin, click on the chart, and I'll have 5 rows worth of this. And then the service also adjusts. So if you have a smaller screen, you'll have maybe a column of 2 instead of a column of 3 for it.
Awesome. And
then you can close them out, and you can actually you can move widgets as needed. So I can move the chart down here or the table down here. I can move my dexes. So if I want dexes in the top row, charts in the middle row, tables in the bottom row, I can do that.
Can you do any resizing, or is that not?
You can. Yep. So every single widget also is enlargeable. So you can increase the size. Then you can select whatever tool you want to use, and then you can then resize it back down. And Yeah, right now, there it is. Right now, you can have it displayed on the widget. And that way, then you can see for major trends. And then if your major trends are hit, enlarge it, do some more crystal clear TA, and then you can either execute or let the TA run and then come back to the asset whenever it's reached a favorable point.
Awesome. So this is also a tool people can use for technical analysis and everything.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have TradingView widgets built right in. You can also view real-time transaction data. So there's a typo on Maker here, but you can also expand the table and you can see the time, the exchange, the buy or sell, the pertinent trading information, and then you can actually open up and you can view the blockchain crawler receipt of that transaction as well.
Amazing. And everything for free.
Oh yeah, for free. You can just come in and start using it. You sign in with your Telegram account because we found that Telegram's pretty ubiquitous in DeFi. Everyone has a Telegram account if you're in the space. So you sign in with Telegram. That way, your layout and all of your saved things can be transported from your computer to your laptop to your cell phone.
Amazing.
And that's about half of it actually. There's a lot more, Chris, if you want to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm already a little bit blown away, but hit me with more, sure.
Yeah. So we went over the external links tab. We went over the exchange tab. We also have the widget watch and the preferred tokens or the favorites columns. So what we realized, right, is that with 15 widgets, that's a lot of space. That's a lot. Like, I don't even know if most people have 15 projects that they actively follow nonstop, right? A lot of people have like 8 or 9 or maybe even 5 projects they're very close with, and they have 10 that they kind of just want to put off to the side. Well, what you can do with that is you can click on add to favorites, and then the specific token pair on that DEX in that network gets moved to the preferred tokens column on the right. And what that does is it provides you a real-time USD updated pricing on that asset. It indicates the non-base pair token, the exchange, the pricing that moves. If it goes up, it goes green. If it goes down, it goes red. And then let's say that you see an asset move from like $10 to $50 in the course of 2 days. That's a pretty big jump. You can then click on either the table or the chart, and then it will repopulate a chart with that asset right there, ready for immediate viewing. So let's say that, to continue that example, let's say that you've seen some pretty favorable price action in this asset. You open up the chart, you do some TA, and you say, all right, based on my analysis, this isn't going to be worthwhile to buy for another week, right? You want to watch it a bit more than just the price, but you don't want to have an entire widget taking up your dashboard. That's where Widget Watch comes in. You can then click on the eyeball, the Widget Watch, and what Rome Terminal does is it actually takes a snapshot of all the technical analysis that you've done onto a widget, and it moves it into the Widget Watch table. So you can wait a week, you can wait a month, however long you'd like, and then you can take this widget, you can even close it out on the dashboard, repopulate it from the Widget Watch, and all of your technical analysis will be overlaid with the advancement in price. So from there, you can determine, hey, this is good to execute. I can then execute directly from Penguin or Velox off the widget.
Crazy.
So yeah, so then in addition to this, we have token details are added in. This is just a placard right now. So this isn't actual live data, but we'll have real-time liquidity information, ratio information, historical information on the asset. We'll have the ability for every asset to switch between a chart or a table. So I can go from a chart. If I see a giant spike, I can open up the table version, and then I can actually see what trade executed that. And you can do that for every native widget that is either chart or table. And then, like I said earlier, is you can just move these things around, and then you can also close them out. And that is the Rome Terminal, Chris.
Amazing. If you ever close something by accident, how easy is it to get it back? Say you done a bunch of technical analysis instead of move, you click close. Can you get it back, or do you have to redo it?
Yeah, so if you do technical analysis and you close out the tab, you have to then reopen it and redo it. But what you can do actually is pretty cool, is that if you do a bunch of technical analysis, you can take the pair you're looking at, and let's say you've done 3 steps, you can click on a Widget Watch, it'll save it, and then you can do more technical analysis, and then you can click on a save, it'll overwrite whatever you had there. And then if you happen to close out your chart, your technical analysis is saved in the Widget Watch column. So the
Widget Watch is kind of also just a quick save button in a way.
It is. It's a quick save button for all your TA.
Crazy stuff. Really cool.
yeah. It's amazing. This is brilliant technology. And that all comes from our development team. Myself and JD had the idea for it, But try to have us build this is kind of like that scene from Zoolander where they have the two guys get the files out of the computer, right? They start like beating on the computer with a rock. We're not that bad. But suffice it to say that we have some really smart guys helping us build this out, and we're very thankful to the work that they've done. So on that, Chris, I mean, do you have any questions about anything on the UI or how it operates or the services provided?
I think your explanation was pretty thorough. I think it's pretty complete. That I'm not sure if you talked about the link button.
Link,
Like
this one.
Yeah, well, oh right, that's the to the all the socials and stuff, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So you have your pricing explorer. This button will add the asset to your wallet. Just a lot of websites have that already. And then these are all the socials.
Awesome.
And the links. Yep.
And all those blockchains on the left side, are you planning or is it more of a placeholder?
Oh no, every single one plus more. So once Hedera Hashgraph has DEXs on it, once Cardano has lending protocols, as soon as they are ready to go, they can reach out to the Rome terminal and we can work together on integrating them into the service.
Crazy. And all for free. Was there some sort of premium version you alluded to at the start, so premium service? Nothing at all.
No, it's all completely free, Chris. And everybody in the world can use Rome terminal for free. And you get all widget watch, preferred tokens, multi-network, real-time data, all of it's there.
I think you're gonna upset some competitors here and there.
Probably, but you can make it all without cracking a few eggs. So you call RBL the chef on that.
The master chef, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yep. I ran through all my questions. I'm not sure if there's anything you would still like to mention to anyone. One good thing maybe is just you alluded to it a little bit, but why Avalanche? Just one more time.
Yeah, sure. So Avalanche as a service, in our estimation, is one of the top blockchain 3.0 services that we've come across. Their consensus mechanism, the rapidity of block confirmations, in addition to the offerings of subnets that are probably going to come, end of this year into next year, really separates it from a lot of competitors. You have, Polkadot has parachains. I think Cosmos has hubs, I think they're called. So you have a similar idea within a bunch of different platforms, but Avalanche is one of the most built out right now. We haven't found a better option for us, so that's why we started on Avalanche. That being said, RBL as a company is blockchain agnostic, so we're more than happy to be proven wrong. But from what we've seen so far, we're very happy with Avalanche services.
And I think Avalanche is very happy to have you as well.
Yeah, I think
awesome.
so.
So what I was saying, any last things you would like to share still?
Let's see. Apart from the fact that we're open to partner with any project that's interested in the Rome terminal, have them reach out to us. Like I said earlier, Alexander at RomeBlockchain.com. That's the RBL website. Have them reach out. We can open up discussions. We're also hiring, I mentioned this earlier as well, a DeFi specialized marketing person. So as I'm sure you're well aware, Chris, being in the journalism information service, DeFi is a different animal. It is full of memes and interesting traders. So we got to make sure that the person we bring on isn't used to your mom and pop type social media stuff.
Yeah.
So yep. But I mean, apart from that, you've done a fantastic job covering everything RBL offers. Thank you.
I'm very happy to hear that. Then I think for this we can close out the video here.
Sure.
For everybody at home, thank you so much for watching. Check out BENQI launching. I hope I get this edited out today. Then it's launching tomorrow. Otherwise, it's going to be a bit tight.
Yeah.
And check out all the other stuff. Can people sign up, or can people get access to the Rome terminal somehow?
So the Rome terminal alpha stage 2 is presently closed. We only have internal RBL partners working with it, but we will be opening up the beta. Our goal is to get it out the end of this month, or at the absolute latest, early September. So once that's out, then it'll be open to Avalanche users. Anybody who wants to trade on the Avalanche network will have real-time data.
Awesome. So Rome terminal, they have to wait for a moment. KUU they can use right now. Velox they can use right now. BENQI they can use tomorrow.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, Alex, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Chris.
And thank you for all the effort you put into all of the products. And
Absolutely.
for everyone at home, I hope to see you in another video. Goodbye.
Bye.